Hello, this is Brother Kevin. I'd like to welcome you to the Journey Journal. Now, this is a special entry because I have some announcements, and I'm doing the announcements from the Journey Journal because I do have some people that follow this. And of course, I made an announcement about this on the Sunday morning message. But anyway, I am going to a new format. We have probably about 65 Journey Journals recorded. This is about 66 or 67, but we have many recorded, but I have been under such pressure physically and also some spiritual pressure coming from several directions. So I'm not going to go into great detail about that because it's really not important, and I'll share with you why. Um, During the time that I had my surgery and had problems with my right foot, I received nerve damage as a result to the surgery. It forced me to retirement. And for the last few years after that surgery, if there was not one thing, there was another. And so for 2 years, I've been fighting sicknesses, being handicapped, being financially uh, oppressed. Um, there was lack, there was fear. I also learned a lot, but it's dawned on me that even up to this very date, that this is not going to stop. And what I mean by that is, it's not that there isn't any power to stop it, but really, as long as I'm defending myself against it, I'm going to lose. So what I'm saying to all of you is that the best defense is an offense. So on this Lord's Prayer Network, we're going to get into spiritual warfare. And I'm going to say that there are two major things about spiritual warfare that I want you to remember. And I didn't come up with this. One of these things I learned through a dear man who's going on to be with the Lord by the name of Derek Prince. Some of you might remember him from the early days of the Charismatic Renewal, and also you guys may remember him from what is called the Fabulous Four, him along with Brother Simpson, Bob Mumford, and I forget the other guy. I don't think it's Aaron Baxter, John Basham. They were part of what's called discipleship, which was a big mess. And of course, Brother Derek said that it was not of the Lord because he said pride entered in and distorted everything that God wanted to accomplish. But I'm not here to talk about that. I just want you to know that for those of you who don't like Derek Prince, I want you to know that I have found him to be one of the best Bible teachers I have ever heard in the Charismatic Renewal. And he said, amongst a number of things, that he said the best defense is an offense. And I tell you, I believe it. And so on this prayer assignment, we are going to go on the offensive. That doesn't mean that we won't ever take time to deal with the enemy straight on, but you know what? I always found it better when I used to go. I was raised in a rough area, when in DC, and I knew it was always better to make a person that was your enemy or want to beat you up, make that person worry about you more than you worry about him. And if you got that person to worry about you, you had the advantage because he's living beside you under every tree. And I was not an aggressive person, but I could fight a little bit. And so when a person just thought they were just going to take my money or something, they got quite a surprise. And I began to get so where, I had built up a reputation where I didn't have to do anything. They just said, "Oh, mess with him. That's John. I'll mess with him." And so my enemies in the school grounds were more concerned about what I would do. I wouldn't worry about what they would do. Now, that's a long time ago, and some of that stuff is petty and child's play. But, you learn lessons from life. And in this particular lesson, I learned that the best defense is an offense. Now, I had to thump a few times, and I had to beat the bully of the entire school, or so-called baddest guy in the school. And I kicked his behind, made short work of him. Okay. I think the Lord was trying to teach me, but you're childish and you got an ego. We got to get saved. The Bible says we got to get saved, and that ain't for nothing. But I still learned from it. And I learned it's better to make your enemy more concerned about you than you be concerned about the enemy. Now, I used to always listen to Muhammad Ali when I was a kid. Couldn't stand him. And I remember when it was Cassius Clay, of course, and he just talked so much. But his whole game was to make his opponent really, really angry. Well, all that opponent could think about was him. He used the same method. He used kind of jacked up ways of doing it because he hurt poor Joe Frazier's. He broke Joe Frazier's heart. I won't get into that, but it's the same principle. You make your opponent worry about you. So I know I've been a little lengthy there, but I wanted to make sure that I shared that with you because this prayer assignment we are beginning on Tuesday. Now, I sent out a version of the same video already a couple of times. One is a stream and one is on the LPN site. Has some mistakes in it, not perfect, and this one isn't either, but we will begin the assignment officially on Tuesday, and we will continue there. And so a lot what you will see will now be prayers on the offensive. Now, the other thing that I want to share that makes spiritual warfare work, I learned from another controversial person, of which some of her teachings and some of her ways I don't agree with, but I did learn this from her. She says one of the number one ways is to have victory in spiritual warfare is to walk in love. And when I heard it, of course, she said that about 25 years ago. And speaking of Joyce Meyer, and I know that's a controversial figure for many, but I just want to say when I heard that 25 years ago, I couldn't believe it. Walking in love is spiritual warfare. Yeah, because that's what Jesus did. Whether Jesus was rebuking, or whether Jesus was saving or healing or casting out devils or encouraging, his motivation was love. That's what made him unstoppable. And so if you will get into this assignment with me, I ask that you will go on the offensive in love. In love, not for the devil, of course, but in love for the opposition that you might receive from people if you go to do this. Now, the enemy doesn't want us to do this. And I'm doing this, yes, for my life because I've been going through a life of sure, that's part of it. But it's also for things that I have allowed to slip because of the trials. I have not done a Love for Muslims prayer vigil 2 years. I've stopped praying for Israel on a regular basis. And I haven't even prayed for my own nation, the United States. So guess what? On those prayer assignments, this is going to be the order. 1, we're going to pray for Israel and the Jewish people. 2, we're going to pray for this nation, the United States. 3, we're going to pray for the Muslim nations, which is the majority of the nations in the 1040 window, of which Sultan and I, by the grace of God, have a part and stock in. I'm referring to our ministry in Bangladesh. So this is definitely an offensive prayer assignment. And I really want you to write me, but even more than writing me, just to communicate, I want you to send your prayers. And if they're prayers, I can just send them out or make them part of, of our broadcast. And particularly if it's the scriptures. One of the things about spiritual warfare to be effective, we talked about going to the offense and we talked about walking in love no matter what. But the other thing is the promises. You have to understand, be in the word, use the word. You overcome Satan by the blood of the Lamb and the word of your testimony. And your testimony is what Jesus, by his word, has done in you, his resurrection and his life. So that will become a major part of your spiritual warfare. There is a place for speaking in tongues, particularly unknown tongues, if you have that gift for prayer. And I suggest that you use it if you have that gift. But if you don't, you have the primary spiritual warfare weapon for all saints, which is the word of God. And so that's what you're going to see a lot. You're going to see a lot of scriptures in these broadcasts. And it's going to be a lot of repetition. And there's a reason for that too. I want to make sure that these scriptures are spoken and are confessed and are prayed several times until it just becomes a part of our life. And my goal is for us to confess the word and to believe the word and to break the power of the enemy by the word. Jesus said to Satan in the temptation of the wilderness 3 times, "It is written, it is written, it is written." And that is the primary warfare. If it was good enough for Jesus, it should be good enough for us. So anyway, that's what we're going to be doing. And this is going to be my new pattern. So we're going to have the Sunday morning sermon as we've had since I've started streaming and since I started the ministry. But we're also going to have, after the Sunday sermon on the Monday, we're going to have one journey journal per week. And we're going to continue through the Gospel of John, chapter 13 through 17. And the third thing, which is going to be the main thing, we're going to have the prayer assignment for the rest of the week. And of course, it's going to be very repetitive, but that's okay. Every week, though, I will give you a refresh of a new prayer, but the scriptures will be most of the time the same, unless they're just something that God brings to my heart and mind, or even brings to yours, that will be helpful to all of us. Because remember, we're going on the offensive, and it's revelation of the word. And I'm going to tell you, revelation of the word is beautiful, it's great, it's awesome. But without being a doer of the word and a believer of the word, it's not going to do us any good. But if you have experience with a particular word that you know breaks the power of the enemy, send it to me. It'll be greatly appreciated on this prayer assignment. Anyway, if you want to contact Sultana and I, you may at www.gsmi.life. That's www.gsmi.life. And we'd be glad to hear from you. When you go on the site, you'll see our face to the left, our faces to the left. On the right, you'll see a place to donate. And underneath those first paragraphs, you'll see our video for Aura, because we're raising support for that. And my wife has a GoFundMe account, so you can check that out as well. But we want you now to come and join us. I am going to focus more on LPN because it's going to be where I'm going to do most of my work. I'm going back to basics. And if I'm going to be attacked, then bring it on. You know why I say that? It's because the best defense is an offense. And so that's what we're going to do. I want you to know that I've never received these poor results before in my life. It's never been this bad for this ministry. And I've put so much into it. But I realized that I was going to get into problems with management issues with YouTube, running into problems with my audience, getting the videos out, running into problems with my health, running into challenges with my finances and challenges with my relationship with church. Everywhere around me was just pressure. And I realized that I wasn't back to my roots. And that's why LPM was created. Preaching is great, it has its place, but I don't think anything tops praying the word. I do not believe it. I just do not believe it. In my life experience, it's praying the word. Well, God bless you. Remember, www.gsmi.life. Please check us out. And God bless you. And I just want to give you the repeat. We're going to have basically just a three video schedule. The Sunday morning sermon, which I start about 9:30, and it will go throughout the entire Sunday. Monday is going to be the Journey Journal. Okay. And the Journey Journals will be a little longer because I won't be doing as many. And then on Tuesday and the rest of the week, it's going to be all prayer from the LPN site. Now, of course, it's going to go across all of our channels, but I'm going to be uploading more prayer material than I have, in the past. So anyway, just want to let you know that. God bless you. And I'll see you again. I'll see you Tuesday. I'm sorry. I'll see you Sunday for the Sunday sermon. Then I'll see you Monday on a Journey Journal on Monday. And then we'll get into our prayer assignment on Tuesday through Friday. God bless you. And I will see you soon. Bye-bye.